Yeah, yeah. Been around since you heard from me. I figured it was time to reintroduce the king. Time to take my rightful place up in this game. Show you phony niggas how to do this thing. Been working in silence so I can work peacefully. I'm a nigga with substance to the highest degree. Thinking about these blacks I'm about to put up on my wall though. I hit that.
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Man, you got the LA hat. They got you.
I had to, you know, I wanted to feel like I fit in, you know?
Hey, they got you. They got you.
Did.
Nothing wrong with that at all, man.
They did. Hold on, how you doing?
Fantastic, my brother. I am super fantastic.
How
about yourself? How about yourself?
Camera set up here a little bit.
Yeah, take your time.
There we go.
Man, take your time. I know this is a little different, you know.
It is.
You know, I do it this way because I got a lot of followers here. It's easy. I dig Instagram. You know what I mean? So why not?
I like it. I like it. It's you don't got to worry about clips. You don't got to worry about nothing. It's just, you got to be here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I just go at it, man. Tell me how the LA experience is treating you. I love LA, one of my favorite cities.
I know. I was about to say you rocking the hat.
Yeah. I knew I was going to be talking with you. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. So far, it's been good. It's weird because during the day, it's like cloudy and kind of gloomy. And then at night, it's like sunny. So we haven't hit like a full summer just yet. And that kind of, I don't know, it throws me off a little bit. But other than that, it's been great. I love it.
Man, that weather's so crazy because it's hot when it is hot underneath, like outside of the shade.
Yeah.
And then when you get into shade, it's freezing. Yeah.
It's wild. I feel like it fluctuates. That's maybe the one thing I wasn't ready for. But other than that, it's been amazing. Vita with Jess, how's it going?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Lloyd, thank you for bearing with us. This is one thing that I'm learning with doing these IG lives.
Yeah.
Is that other people's Wi-Fi. You know, I forgot to tell you that. Get on the Wi-Fi. It keeps the signal clean.
Yeah.
Have less issues. You know what I mean?
1000%. And you know, it's cool when you get to go to somebody else's podcast and kind of see like how they do things. You know, like what's their process, that kind of stuff. Because when it's just yours, you know, you're kind of limited to just one way of doing it. So it's cool to like see how other people troubleshoot issues and stuff. I like it. We rocking together, so I'm enjoying it.
Lloyd, I'm gonna tell you this, man. When you're on my podcast, we are just having a good time, bro.
Yeah, that's literally it. Those are the best. Those are the best podcasts.
I just want to have a good time. You know, I've been doing this for a long time myself. This is my 5th year, I think, or maybe going on my 6th. I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm having a good time. I've learned to build community. You know what I'm saying? And I had to talk to somebody like you because you're doing something in the game that I like. It's monetizing what you're doing. You know what I mean? I watched a lot of your stuff. You know, content creation. Let's see here versus influencing. You know what I mean? All that good stuff you've been talking about. I got a lot of questions.
I'm excited to talk about it because I have, you know, I think like I think the challenge with somebody like me is I change very, very fast. So one week you might catch me and I'm like, monetize everything. Next week you catch me, I'm like, it's the worst thing ever, you know? So there's a lot of highs and lows. So I'm excited to talk about some of those today.
Okay. And then the fact that you're a young man and you see the entrepreneurship in this, you know what I mean? That's great because when I was growing up, this wasn't an opportunity. You know what I mean? This is a new space. There's opportunity here. There's, besides just money, because there's a lot of also bargaining power. Just tell us where we can find you, a little bit about yourself, and what we can learn about your show, your podcast, and what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So obviously, as everybody knows, my name is Lloyd. I run a podcast and newsletter called the Cre8tor Hub. We essentially publish content weekly to help creators essentially become better creators, both on the content side and the business side. So a lot of what we do is research everything you need to know as a creator so that we spend hours on it. And then in about 5 minutes, you can consume our newsletter and know everything you need to know for that particular week. So even just things like what platform should you be focusing on? Where should you be monetizing? what platforms are having difficulty, news within the creator economy. A lot of like this, like not flashy news in the creator economy just kind of slides under the radar, but it is important stuff that we should all know about. You can find me on all platforms at Lloyd, not George, and that's the actual handle. Lloyd, not George.
Lloyd, man, you're killing them, man.
I appreciate it.
You motivated me. You know, when we last met, you were like, hey, I'm about to hit LinkedIn. I said, Lloyd, you're going to LinkedIn? I said, okay, I got to go to LinkedIn too.
Yo, you know what's so funny? It feels like that last time we linked up was so long ago, but it wasn't that long.
Not at all.
I just think stuff is just happening, but it wasn't that long ago.
It was not. It was not that long ago.
Yeah.
But so much happened in that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I watch your LinkedIn movement. We got to talk about that. Tell me how that's been going for you, because I think it's going well.
Let me ask you first.
Yeah.
What do you think about LinkedIn so far? If you're from outside looking in, how you feeling about it? It
made me become known more as I got known more in the industry being on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll tell you a story about LinkedIn, and when you told me you were going to do that, I was like, duh, I should have been done this, but smart for you. You know what I mean? You met Fayla Davis?
Yeah.
Fayla got her job from LinkedIn.
Wow.
She did all that she's done because she was posting on LinkedIn that she could mix and what she's done in her shows. And then from there, a Grammy-nominated artist contacted her on LinkedIn. She got the gig, and that's it. She's a Hall of Famer.
Wow. That is
so
insane.
When you said it, I said, of course, I need to get on that LinkedIn game.
Yeah. Yo, I think that's maybe like the missing piece, because it's like, with Instagram and all these tools, it's cool. Like you could potentially get more people to find you, but on LinkedIn, the types of people that hire you, the types of people that pay you, the types of people that work for companies looking for people, they're all on LinkedIn. And it's just someone's more likely to DM you on LinkedIn than they are on Instagram. And so to me, it's just like a no-brainer.
Vita with Jeff says, I got recruited on LinkedIn for my current job.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? That's crazy. But, I've done that as well. Like, at regular gigs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been in, regular gigs I get off of LinkedIn. People even reach out to me. But with this podcasting space, I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So it's been going well for you.
It's been going well as an understatement. Like it's been going like amazing. Like I think part of it too is like LinkedIn, whenever like social platforms are new, they expand your reach more. So like when I got on TikTok was still new. So it was so easy to get eyeballs on your content. I now think the same thing is happening on LinkedIn, where it's just like you can make a post and have 6,000 people see it pretty easy with like very minimal effort.
Easy.
That's very, very hard on Instagram. And so until that changes, I'm just hanging out there. And it's been cool. I have what's called like a LinkedIn content manager. And so this is somebody on the inside that just tells you like, hey, that we're going to be releasing this feature, or hey, this is this new feature. This is how it works. And just to see the amount of effort they're putting to get more creators and podcasters on their platform, it's very, very encouraging.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you for a very long time. From when we first met, I invited you to the studio when you were down here, and then next week you're like, "Yo, I'm moving to LA." I'm like, "Dang, I miss this kid."
I appreciate the invite, and we got to make it happen sometimes. I'm grateful we're at least doing it virtually. I really appreciate you inviting me onto your platform. I will say, just before we dive in, I'm very big on like community, and I don't like just like knowing people in conversation. And so when people actually invite you onto their platform, when people actually reach out and they check on how you're doing, like a lot of that stuff is the thing, like that's what matters to me. So I really appreciate you for doing that.
Oh man, my pleasure, man. From when we first met, Corey, shout out to the BPA. Corey told me you were a person I had to talk to. And I said yes. And when I spoke with you that day we met out in Philly, I was like, yeah, this guy got it. This guy got it. This guy got it. What got you into it? What made you get online and start teaching first?
Yeah. So my background originally, like I'm an immigrant. I've been in the United States for about 17 years. And I never got the chance to go to college. So when I first created content, it was like, okay, like I'm not that qualified on paper, but maybe I could use this content thing as sort of like a portfolio or like a resume, so to speak. So much so that in a way that like when people see my content or my work, like when they watch my podcast and they say, this guy is knowledgeable, he knows what he's talking about, they're less likely to ask for like your resume per se, just because they know, oh, I clearly know you know what you're talking about. And so that's originally what like got me like going and really investing in the content. And since then, it's just opened up so many different doors and so many different opportunities to meet people. And so now it's just become like a big part of who I am. I know every day I wake up, I think of a creative idea, I put it out, I keep it moving, and then we see what opportunities come out of that.
Wow. So much in that answer, because I got a lot. So that got you into teaching. Why podcasting?
Well, I think podcasting is like a very, very unique space in the sense that I first discovered how unique podcasting was in 2015 because I was working at a job that I completely hated. This job, Santiago, this job was like terrible. Like it was like bad. So I would literally listen to podcasts while I was at work, and that's when it hit me like, oh my gosh, I could be listening to something, I could be working, I could be learning something and working. This couldn't happen with any other medium. It's not like I could have been watching TV and working. It's not like I could have been on like YouTube watching something and working. So it was just such a unique medium in the sense that it was like, oh man, you could consume thousands of hours of this while doing something else, and it's completely free and you're learning. Like I have a friend that has like a podcast that's centered around teaching people how to like overcome diabetes. He has like thousands of hours and it's like valuable information, and it's just all free. Like it's just like on the internet for free. And it's like, there's not too many mediums that do that. And so when you look at where we are, it feels like there's a lot of podcasters, but we're actually just at like the inception of the medium. And we're still trying to figure out like how to do it, how it works, what it looks like. And so it's the perfect time for like people like you and I to be getting into the space.
Yeah. Yes. You spoke in one of your podcasts how many millions of dollars or billions of dollars spent, and then how much has increased. And there's a lot for everybody out there. You know, I don't like to always talk about just the monies. However, I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? I'm an entrepreneur, and I use that as my rewards for the work that I've put out. It's nothing more than just that. You know what I mean? That's the reward for the work I put out, for the product that I put out. Man, the content you put out is amazing. It's very clean. So not only did you start, when did you start? Because when I looked at your YouTube and I went to your oldest video, it looked like it was only a year ago.
Yeah, literally. I started in December 20. I started my first podcast in 2018, but I didn't really take it serious until December of 2021.
This is all in a year.
All in a year. And that's the crazy thing about it. It's like, it's such, I feel like creating content is such a faith journey, because it's like, you could, technically speaking, you could post your first video and that first video go viral and it just changed your life. And so each time you publish a video or an episode, you never know what's going to happen with that episode. It's like every time you publish it, it's like playing the lottery each time, right? And you don't know which one is going to pop, but you just know that like, hey, it's a stab, it's an opportunity. And that's how like I think about it. It's definitely like a faith walk. And so every time I post, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's just me and God's little thing where I know like, hey, something amazing is going to happen. Like somebody's going to see this. They're going to try and hire me. Somebody's going to see this. They'll invite me to this conference. I never know specifically, but I just know like, if you do this every single day, good things will happen. That's just like a good rule, like across the board.
That's great that you feel that way. It's a roll of a dice, man. Every time.
Yes.
It's a roll of the dice.
I'm curious what you think about that though.
The dice. It's not like the lotto. You got to pay for the ticket, but you actually got these dice in your hands and you get to put them out. And if you get a good swing, you can hit sevens all day.
Bro, that's a fact. I mean, I'm curious, how do you think about that? Because like you're an entrepreneur, and I feel like a lot of people that think the way I'm thinking, it comes across as like very creative, but it's like, it's not practical. So it's like, how do you feel about that?
And I love this dialogue we're having. Let's have it this way, because I like when people ask questions as well. So I appreciate that. How do I feel about it as an entrepreneur? I dig it. I dig it like a mug, man. I dig it like a mug. I ain't go front. When I was younger, my mother bought me a computer. I had DOS, you know what I mean? Green screen in my basement with the printer, the laser jet thing and everything. I had that. and I played games on it and I programmed. So me seeing what social media has, has come from this, I'm just like, and it's easy to play with. It's so easy to maneuver and to manipulate. I think if I didn't use it, I'll be doing my children a disservice if I didn't do something with this for them to set them up for the future. So I say I love it. And I like, when I say entrepreneurship, I love, I'm into the trucking industry. I'm getting heavy into it right now because, I like guaranteed, give me my money. I move the shipment, give me my money.
Right.
I feel like this allows me to relax too, because I get to jump into a space where I get to play with editing and colors and art. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm an artsy person as well. So answer your question, I like it.
Yeah, and just to add to your point, right? Think about this real quick. So similar to you, I think I'm very entrepreneurial, and in addition to my content, I've created other business ventures, right? All of them have some level of cost associated with the goods you deliver, right? So it's like you're a trucker, you deliver a load, you got to pay for gas, the truck monthly payments, your time, right? And so your profit margins may be, let's just say, like a quarter or maybe half, theoretically. It could be more. With content, when you think about getting paid to do a brand deals, most cases, 100% of that is profit. And so when you think about how it breaks down in terms of the usage of your time, it's probably the best entrepreneurial way to make money, in my opinion. Some people will argue that, but there's not too many businesses where you can make money without that much experience, and most of it be profit.
And I feel you can say that because you know how to make this part of your day.
What do you mean by that?
Not everyone knows how, and I'm not saying that I know how to as well, but some people take it I feel too serious as well. I feel like you're having fun, and one of my questions is going to be, even though you put out that content and you started with TikTok, and I believe I saw your first video on YouTube, your next videos change completely. So your lighting, the camera, and even the editing of the video has changed. What caused you to make such a drastic jump to that clean of content?
Yeah. So I think for me, the way I think about it, which contrary to popular belief, the content that performs better is the less polished content. So if you look at my best performing videos on TikTok, for example, it's the videos that I think look the least the best. And every time I put those out, it's always man, I said I was going to do a video per day. I really don't want to do one today, but whatever. Let's just put something out, and that'll be the video that goes viral. And so I'd say that for me, I'm a little too critical sometimes. I put too much time in trying to make my videos look good, when really I should be putting more time in just being consistent, putting more time in just sort of the content that I'm putting out, not necessarily the quality. And so that's what caused that shift. It's just me being self-conscious that man, if people are going to see this at Apple or Spotify, it needs to look the best, when that's really not true. So that's what caused the shift. But to be honest, I wish more people just said quality really isn't that important, honestly. Unless you're maybe a podcaster, I could see a world maybe it's where it's important, but not. I say that hesitantly.
Because you never know, like you said, you just don't know. And also, you're putting out your resume. You know what I mean? So I believe having both is fantastic. Yeah, look what I can do on the fly, and look what I can do with a budget behind me. So that's dope that you can do that. That's dope that you can do that.
And just one last point to add to that. I think
Lloyd, give us everything, brother.
I think too. I haven't been on live and talked to people in a long time, so this is my time to get it all
take
off
it, man. You'll take it, bro. It's all good.
Yeah, I will say though, I think that back to your point about this being your portfolio, I think that people, I think that if we say hey, I'm going to create one TikTok video every single day, but I want the video to look good because it's my portfolio, I think the challenge with that comes with the fact that you don't necessarily get good by putting out good content. You get good by putting out more content. So I would prefer that your content not be that good, but you do want every single day, because in 365 days, your content will naturally just get better by nature of the fact that you're doing it for so long. And so I think that like when I first started, that was like the thing that even now that still holds me up, where it's just like, yo, you just need to get reps in. And I'd be thinking like, oh man, like Santiago's going to see this. He's going to be like, the quality of this looks off. So it's like, I hesitate on putting it out when really we should all just be putting out more content.
Lloyd, that is the truth. And I'm going to tell you why I know that's the truth. I don't care. I'll be honest with you. I really don't give no F's at all, Lloyd. I just put the shit out. I don't care. Sometimes I leave mistakes on purpose.
Yeah.
I do it purposefully. And people love those the most. I have a good friend of mine. His name is Van Hall. Shout him out, LFR family. Van has 890,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. He's going to cross the 1 million threshold in like a few days to a week. And he just tells me, Santi, I just put stuff out. Put it out there. Just put it out there. And he dropped like 4 videos a day, 5 videos a day, 6 videos a day. He now doesn't work, and he lives off YouTube checks. Wow. He's a content creator, he's an influencer, and he has a community. You know what I mean? He's all those things.
Yeah.
All those things. Like, and I like how you and that young lady spoke about it in your latest podcast. The content influencer or the influencer content creator, like that, it's merging.
Yeah.
It's merging into one.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that? And do you feel still like, I know you always feel like it's a negative connotation behind the name, but how do you feel about the content influencer?
Yo, me personally, I love it. And I think that like it's a new era. So if we think about what I would call creators, which are people that are just putting out videos, it's really encouraging to see people. If I would never call myself an influencer, and I think like I would never put out videos because I don't want to be listed as like an influencer. And so when I think of myself as a creator, it kind of lowers the bar a little and makes me feel like anyone can do this. You just need to grab your phone. It doesn't even need to be high quality. You don't need to be good looking, anything. Put out a video. And so I like that, like we're lowering the barrier so that more people can get into it. I feel like even in podcasting, we try and put like barriers and blockers. We try and say like a podcast is not this, it's really this. And it's like, we're just like excluding people. And I'm more of like the mindset that it's like, yo, let everybody get in there. It doesn't even, it doesn't matter. Just like get in, right? Start creating. You could be a podcast. We know that
they don't know, Lloyd. They just laid off a bunch of people in the podcasting industry.
Yeah.
We know that's proof that they don't know.
Exactly.
And the only issue I have with the industry is that they tried to treat it like the music industry at first. And that was like, I knew that was going to blow up in their face because it's not that. This unfortunately for us, it's hard to control this. This has to be raw and from a root and from the soil. And when it's not, it doesn't get the same love. And I love the guys that are huge in it, but they still went to the root themselves. You know what I mean? The way they started their shows.
Yeah, I 1000% agree with that. That is like, I think maybe like 5 years from now or 3 years from now, it might be easier for smaller podcasters, I think, to be successful than larger podcasters. Just because when you think about what has to happen for a large podcaster to be successful, it's almost impossible to hit. So, I agree with that. And I meant to ask you too, I think when you think about spaces like you mentioned, you're in the trucking world. When you think about spaces like that, it's on TikTok, I see a lot of truckers creating videos, like either telling people what they're doing, asking other people to get into it. And so it's now like, I think being a creator has become accessible to you would never see a trucker saying I'm an influencer 5 years ago.
Man, I am about to go attack the trucking industry with my podcasting, Lloyd. I'm going to tell you, it hasn't happened. I haven't struck at it like I want to, but watch what's about to happen. Because it is a powerful industry. It has its own community, and there's a voice there, and I want to put it out there. I want to put it out there. So yeah. Trucking is dope.
and you know what's funny about that? I think that's another thing we're gonna see in like 5 years. I think like micro communities are gonna become like popular. So it's like right now, I think a lot of people feel like to be a successful podcaster, you probably need a solid 10,000 listeners, 50,000 listeners, whatever number.
That's what they tell you. They tell you 10,000 a month.
But it's like, if you get 250 solid truckers listening to your content that they spend money, like that is like a
Lloyd,
great, you could probably become a full-time person.
let me tell you something, Lloyd. If you get 256 truckers that are dedicated to you, and this is, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's the industry to be in the next 10 years. Logistics, logistics and transportation.
Yep.
Those guys have cash, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're bored on that road. You got to make them have a good time. So I attack it. I attack that industry very hard, man. And I love that you bring that up about having small numbers, because you're one that, first of all, there's a lot of questions in this one. I got a few questions, but the number one thing is, I'm going to say that's dope that you present how much you're making, you know what I mean, to us. And you tell us, you're open about how much you made a month. And that's dope that you do that. And, that's ballsy, number one. And then I'm going to say, but you're doing that with very not elaborate numbers.
Yep.
How are you pulling that off?
Yeah. And I think that's like the main reason I started to do it is I think people assume that like to make $1 podcasting or on social media that you have to have a large following. And so I think I'm perfect proof that that's just like not true. And so I've always believed that like there's one thing that's more important than having like large numbers, and that's your relationships. So for example, all of us know our barbers, we know our gardeners, like in our local community, like not even on the internet. If we just went to all the grocery stores, all the restaurants in our neighborhood and said, yo, I'm a podcaster. I have 100 people listen to my stuff per month. Would you sponsor this for $25? I think a lot of people would be surprised how many people would say yes. And so if you do that right there, if you ask for $25 per episode and you get 4 episodes per month, that's $100. That's like your entire hosting for the year. That's like a good chunk of money. And so at that point, like once you establish those smaller relationships, you build on that. It compounds, right? So for example, I'm doing a live show at the end of this, towards like August. And so a lot of the people I'm reaching out to sponsor the live show are people that have sponsored the podcast. And a lot of the people that sponsor the podcast are people that I already have relationships with. And so it just becomes a relational type thing. And so I tell people that like, when you start podcasting, we develop the skill set of like, how do I become a better podcaster? But we never say like, how do I become a better salesperson? How do I learn to sell myself? How do I learn to pitch myself? That's just a skill set just as much as becoming a podcaster. And you could have a sucky podcast and know how to sell yourself really well, and you'll make more money than vice versa.
True indeed. True indeed. What's your favorite part about podcasting?
Yo, I'm going to go with, I think it's the feedback I get when I share something that's helpful. So it's like if somebody messages me and says, yo, I'm so glad you shared that opportunity. I didn't know that existed. That is the thing that makes me feel like, oh man, this is worth it. Let's do it again. That like, you're educating people, but still fun, still entertaining. I love that aspect of it.
Nice.
Yeah. What would you say is yours?
What's my favorite part? You asked me what's my favorite part?
Yeah.
It's a few things, but one of my favorite things recently, it's I love meeting new people. And then when, this is great, meeting new people. And sometimes I interview, like I know you, we got to meet, but we never really got to the next level of like doing this one-on-one a little longer. But sometimes I interview people I had no idea. Like I never really had a conversation with them at all. So that's dope virtually. And then when they're in studio, I love the in studio ones because that's like a vibe, man. Like we sit down, we talk, we sometimes, we get food catered and we'll have drinks and our studio is a spaceship. You know what I mean? Like you're going to enjoy it when you come down.
Yeah.
I love that time. And then once they leave, people go, man, this was dope.
Yeah.
This was dope. I want to do it again. And then like, now I got them hooked and they want to do this again and again. And they start podcasting with other people.
Yeah.
And I see them doing podcasts with other people. And I like that part.
Yo, that is the best feeling. Like when you meet someone on your podcast that you, like I try and tell people all the time, like if you interview someone on your podcast, your relationship with them just changes. It's different. It's like, I mean, how often do you get to sit down with someone for like an hour uninterrupted, no cell phones, no anything, just talking? It's just rare.
Very.
Yeah.
and I was shouting out Ash. You guys are super professional. Explain to me how you all work together. How does that work? How did that all come about? All that good stuff.
Yeah, so originally it was just me doing the content, and then I brought Ash on for one or two of the episodes, and then people just kept messaging me and saying, we want Ash back on. And people were saying that like when Ash is on, I think I come across kind of like too stiff or kind of too professional, but when Ash is on, she kind of brings out like a lighter side of me. And so people liked that. Like I'm a little more relaxed when she's there. She kind of is like sharing personal details about me. And so I think my audience just grew to like it. And so we just kept having her on back and back and back. It's also just nice getting to like work with your wife. Like I like it. Like we get to like, these are already the conversations we're talking about at home. Like, oh, did you hear Twitter is doing this thing? It's crazy. And so getting to do that on the podcast is just like also really dope.
That's fire. That's fire. Now, that's what was my question as well. That is your wife. That's dope, man. I went to college with my wife a few times. So we were in, we got our undergrad together, and then we went to Full Sail University together. So
are you both in like AV tech? Like if you both went to Full Sail, you're both in like
tech, like audio engineering. We're both in the tech heavy, data analysts and all that good stuff. We're tech. We're tech guys. Yeah, I'm a straight nerd, man. I'm a nerd. A lot of people never, like, people get so surprised by that, but I'm like, you know, I grew up in Brooklyn in the 80s. You know what I mean? So imagine I had Casio, I had Tribe Called Quest, I had Samurai Showdowns, and you know what I mean? I had Nintendo, Neo Geo, and then I had Run DMC up the corner growing up. You know what I mean? So, which in fact actually went to the same barbershop as Jam Master Jay back in the days in Brooklyn. So I actually used to see him all the time. So like I had all that in me, but at the same time, tech was getting heavy. You know, so like I said, I'd be doing my children a disservice if I didn't take advantage of tech and, you know, the opportunities that are here.
Been a while since you heard from me. I figured it was time to reintroduce a king. Time to take my rightful place up in this game. Show you phony niggas how to do this thing. Been working the salad so I can work peacefully. I'm a nigga with substance to the highest degree. Thinking about these blacks I'm about to put up on my wall down. I hit that email for the features in the tight town. Time to go make history with all the rhymers and fitters. All I make is them hitters. Make them one hit the credits. Real shit. All I want is respect in my fortune. Taking what's mine and I'm not asking, just keeping the cordial. Business behavior when you come around me. Talk that bad talk, I don't say shit. Bro, I'm too legit to quit. I just keep on spitting with the realest shit I have to offer. I keep shit elevated like a flying saucer. I'm so elevated, elevated. Stay working the grind, no time for waiting now. Got me making plays to get rich, gotta let you know that I'm the shit, I'm so elevated, elevated. Stay working the grind, no time for waiting now. Elevated, got me making plays to get rich, show you motherfuckers I'm the king, Make some adjustments to the work ethic, I made it stronger. Not into wasting time or money, dog, I'm working smarter. Niggas be worried about the wrong shit, but they getting mad. Some of the choices that you make.
What up, my boy? Huh? What up, my boy?